Welcome, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about social science internship programs. My name is Shirley, and I'm from IBHQ, a volunteer travel organisation, but we're here today with Dallas and Sarah and Michaela. So Dallas and Sarah are from Intern Abroad HQ, and they'll be covering off the different internship opportunities we have available, specifically under the social sciences branch. And Michaela, who is part of our campus relations team, will cover off a little bit more about the scholarship opportunity we have available and some academic credit details. So in terms of the order of events for today, we will obviously tell you a little bit about Intern Abroad HQ so you know who we are and what we do. Then we'll delve into the social science internships that are available, different fields, different locations, both abroad and remote options. Then we'll start to talk about the $1,000 internship scholarship, which is a great opportunity, and the team will delve further into that later. And then we'll also talk about one of our past scholarship winners, Taylor, and how he applied for the scholarship, and then he's recently completed his scholarship. So sort of the full journey there. And then Michaela will cover how you can get academic credits a few different ways, so she'll get into the details of that. And then hopefully we'll have enough time for a good open forum question and answer session where you can ask us anything. If you have any questions during the time as we go through everything, please feel free to put it in the chat and we will answer them towards the end. And then obviously just a little bit about the fees and how you can apply for the programs. So over to Dallas and Sarah to kick it off.
Thanks, Shirley. I probably realized I should have had my reading glasses on, but it's okay. Thanks everyone for coming and joining our webinar. So Sarah and I represent Intern Abroad HQ. We're both program managers, and between us and other members of our team, we work with a range of different destinations around the world. There's countries in over 20 countries, and there are lots of different career paths that you can choose from for the internships. Sarah, do you just want to run through some of the career fields we have available?
Yeah, sure. So we have a range of medical placements. We've also got creative arts and media, business, finance, architecture. I mean, anything you can think of, really, we are able to offer an internship in. So the field of different areas is super broad. And yeah, there's something really for everyone.
Absolutely. And the internships are available in person if you are traveling and doing the internships in a different country. But we also have all of these opportunities available remotely as well. So there are online internship opportunities.
Yep, and they can be really customizable as well. So maybe you're doing the experience for course credit, or you need to complete a certain amount of hours or certain tasks by a supervisor with a certain background. So we can help you out with that, and you can pass along those to us and we can make it happen.
And very similar in nature to study abroad programs, especially students that are currently studying. They're probably used to seeing information on their campus about study abroad opportunities. The internships abroad are quite similar in the sense that there are lots of services involved in these packages. So we organize everything. So airport pickup, accommodation, orientations. In many cases, meals are also included in the internships. So that's why there's a lot of people involved in the support and the guidance that people receive in making it work for the participants.
So social science internship. Sorry, took me a while there.
I thought Shirley was going to start speaking. The social science internships that we have located around the world, you can see there on the world map some of the destinations that are available. Sarah can speak to the ones that are the most popular, but you can see on the map the division between the remote and the abroad locations. So some you do travel and you do these in person, but otherwise where it's a destination that hosts the remote internship, that means you would be connected to a company or an organization or an NGO in that country, and they would act as your hosts and your supervisors from that location.
Yep, and you can see just from the images to the side that our most popular are, the fields of law and human rights, psychology, education, and social work. But we do also have a range of other ones that, aren't listed there, but that we do offer as well, destinations highlighted on the map.
Mm-hmm. When we say education, there's quite a few different options there. You could focus on women's education and work with adults. You can look at education administration, or you can look at more youth and teaching for people that maybe are at different levels. They could be primary school, they could be high school students. So there's a lot of variety within these categories, which we can cater to different interests.
Yeah, and the same goes for law and human rights. There could be NGO support or legal practice internships as well. So yeah, it is quite a broad field.
Thanks, guys. I think, Michaela, over to you to talk about the scholarship opportunities that we have.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Michaela. As Anshuli said, I'm part of our campus relations team. So if you choose to intern with us, you would be working directly with Dallas and Sarah, but the campus team is here to support you with any university documentation if you're a student and need approval, or if you're looking to gain academic credit while you're abroad, which we'll jump into a little bit later. But first, I want to introduce a scholarship that we have available specifically for our social science internships. This is a campaign going through the end of October. So if you're looking to intern this semester or already looking for next summer, it's a great time to potentially earn up to $1,000 to go toward your intern program. This award can be used toward either the remote or abroad internships. And for context, this could cover the cost of a 5-week remote internship entirely. So definitely worth filling out the short application and putting your name into that competition. As far as eligibility goes, we just need you to be at least 18 years old and have a specific career interest in education, law and human rights, psychology, or social work. So we don't expect you to have loads of experience or to necessarily already be in university. Whether you have just graduated high school or you're in your second year of university, or even if you've just graduated and are looking for some work experience, maybe before you apply for grad school, this is applicable for all of you. We do expect you, obviously, to have a desire to immerse yourself in another culture and to really learn from them. And of course, we'd love to see all the photos and feedback you could share while you're abroad. As I said, the application deadline is the end of October, so you still have about 6 weeks to get it in. As far as what we're looking for in the application, it's just a few very basic questions, but we really just want you to be thoughtful about why you're interested in your given career field, what you think an internship would contribute to your current studies or your career journey, and why you specifically would like to do an internship abroad or remotely. Sorry, real quick, just want to mention, maybe you're on here learning about internships, but you don't study social sciences. We do run scholarships, a couple each year. So if, say, you're interested in medical, definitely sign up for our newsletter or watch our social media, because there could be an opportunity that comes out for you later on.
And that is a perfect segue, actually, because we have run a scholarship already and had Taylor, who was our medical scholarship winner from last year. So Sarah actually visited Spain earlier this year and met Taylor while she was over there. So Sarah, will you tell us a little bit about Taylor's experience?
Yeah, sure. So he was a medical scholarship winner, and he was doing, he's studying neuroscience in the University of Colorado. So he decided to go and choose Valencia, Spain to complete his medical internship. So he was there for about 8 weeks, working with a sports clinic there. But he also used the opportunity afterwards to do some personal travel and work on his kind of personal development as well. And he applied the same way as everyone would for the next scholarship, but his answers really stood out because he was able to kind of bring into it his personal experience, and he really made his answers really succinct. So, I mean, he didn't have to write a lot, but what was there was really to the point. It was really good. He kind of spoke from the heart, and yeah, was able to relate it back to his life and his passions for the medical field. So yeah, we were so great to host him and meet him in person, and yeah, he had a fantastic time, as you can see from his photos. He went skydiving and everything. So no, he had a great time abroad.
And don't worry, guys, you don't, skydiving is not a prerequisite that if you do win the scholarship that you have to complete something as adrenaline hopping that. So on to academic credit. Now, obviously, there are a few different ways, as I mentioned earlier, but Michaela will be able to give you some more details around how you can get academic credit through Intern Abroad HQ.
Yeah, so in addition to the work and cultural experience you'll have with your internship, you can also earn academic credit while abroad. So this is a great opportunity to, for example, if your degree plan requires a work placement or internship, this is a great way to fulfill that requirement while getting to travel. So we do this in a couple different ways. Initially, we like to check first with your home institution. So we ask that you go to your academic advisor and see if there is an internal system of how we can grant you credit for maybe a specific number of hours completed for your internship. And that is where the campus team comes in. We'll support you with any documentation or paperwork, or even facilitate a meeting with your academic or study abroad advisor if needed. And then we also offer another option through our school of record. So maybe your school won't grant credit, or you are a high school student or a recent grad, and you just want to earn a few more credits to go toward a future university application. We do this externally through the University of Montana or Warren Wilson College. And the main difference is just how many credits you want to earn. So you'll see here for 1 to 5 credits that would come through the University of Montana. We would provide you with a syllabus and weekly assignments alongside your internship goals and tasks. And then at the end of the internship, you would be able to take that transcript to your current university or your future university to earn elective credit towards your degree. And then with Warren Wilson College, that's just if you want to earn more credits, potentially even a semester's worth, we can go up to 16 credits through them. So this is a great opportunity to earn academic credit, maybe not through traditional study abroad, but as you can see with these prices, in a lot of instances, this would be cheaper than 1 semester at a U.S. university. So it's financially a very good option.
Thanks, Michaela. And while we're on this, what are the other requirements with academic credit? Is there like a minimum duration, or is there only specific fields, or can any of the fields you can get academic credit?
Yeah, so this is applicable for any career field or any internship you choose. Typically, the way it works is for every 2 weeks of interning, you can earn up to 1 credit. So depending on what duration you do, we can attribute credits based on that. And in any case, you would be getting weekly assignments.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Thank you, Michaela. Okay, so we'll just cover off the fees a little bit. So first of all, intern fees for abroad internships. Dallas and Sarah, I'll leave this over to you.
So our program fees always depend on the destination you choose, because the cost of living varies around the world, and it also depends on the number of weeks you choose, because the program fees for the internships abroad include accommodation and in many cases meals. So the longer you stay, the higher the program fee, just making sure that those basic living expenses for yourself are being covered. So the program fees start from about $22 a day, depending on the destination. Like I said, I believe that's Peru. And the internships in Peru, if you're looking at social sciences, there's definitely a lot of options related to psychology, special education, general education. So there's certainly options there. And when you see our program fee, to confirm your participation, you need to pay a deposit, which there's a little typo on that slide. Sorry, it's $449, not $499, but that always confirms your participation on a program. And then the remaining balance of that program fee, that's due 60 days before your start date. It's a little bit more flexible for the remote internships. You don't have to plan 60 days in advance if you want to intern remotely, but that's yeah, the usual structure for the international programs anyway. Do you want to
Yep, sure. And I just did want to say that for the deposit fee, because it is the same across all of our destinations, if you do go ahead and pay your deposit fee, but you decide that maybe you want to change destination or from abroad to remote, we can just apply the same deposit fee over to the new program just because they're same across the board. But if looking at the remote internship program fees, so you can see the different options there for 100 hours, 250 hours, and 350 hours. You can choose those options for 3 weeks full-time, 5 weeks part-time, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. It's really up to you and how you want to arrange your own schedule, but the price increases just depending on the amount of hours that you want to do.
And I would say, just going back to Michaela's point about getting academic credit for the experiences, when you add tuition to the internships in order to gain academic credit, like she said, the prices for the programs in many cases can be more affordable per credit than the price you're paying for tuition, especially if you're an out-of-state student. Those tuition rates can get really expensive. So I know from working with universities in the past, some of the internship advisors have been telling students, you could be earning credits in Costa Rica or Spain for less than you're paying to earn those same credits on campus. So,
plus exploring somewhere new, plus being away from home and, you know, having a great time and, you know, the sunshine where maybe it's winter where you're from. So yeah, there's so many benefits to doing something like this.
And getting the work experience. So I think that's why people are increasingly looking at these type of intern abroad opportunities, as opposed to study abroad, because you're actually getting outside the classroom and you're building your resume and you're getting the tuition that you need to graduate in many cases or fulfill an academic requirement. So it's really important to bear that in mind when you're making your plans.
Awesome. Thanks, Dallas and Sarah. And honestly, you're right. That does sound way better than just doing it the normal sort of usual way. So we've had a few questions that came through as people signed up for this webinar. So I'll go through and sort of pick out a couple and ask you guys the questions. Feel free to choose amongst you who is best placed to answer them. So the first question we have is there an ideal amount of working hours that'll benefit someone for their CV in the future?
I wouldn't say so. Again, it's all, you know, it's around your schedule. So as many hours as you can dedicate to an experience like this is always going to look good on paper, just because it shows that you are flexible and you're making the effort to, you know, bolster out your resume and put something on there in terms of real life experience. So obviously, most internships are going to be full-time, 40 hours a week, but we do have duration options from 2 weeks up to 24 weeks, just to give people the flexibility of being able to choose the duration that works with their own personal schedule.
Yeah, a lot of people would look at doing internships like this over the summer or other academic breaks, and the amount of time that you choose to spend on the program, you might need to negotiate that around other work or study or family or sport commitments. So it's really kind of up to everyone. But like Sarah said, making the effort in the first place is huge. And some of the internships are available from just 2 weeks. And in many cases, people will just sign up to do 2 to 4 weeks and get that introductory experience. And it is kind of like dipping your toe in the water with those introductory experiences, because you can try new things, you know, figure out what you like and what you don't like, or maybe help inform what your future study plans might be if you've you know, decided you've got a passion for something that you want to pursue. Yeah, it's really up to the participant how long they would like to participate for.
And what's the longest somebody can participate on an internship for?
Yep, so that would be 24 weeks. That's not across all destinations. It is destination specific. So some do have a maximum duration of 12 weeks, whereas others have a maximum of 24 weeks. So if you are looking for a longer term duration for an internship, but you're not sure where to start, you can always just get in touch with us and we can kind of point you in the right direction for which ones would be available for a longer term.
Especially if we're wanting to earn the maximum number of academic credits, which I believe was up to 16 credits, then you would be looking at those longer term durations.
Okay, cool. And so we've also had a question around psychology internships specifically in Europe. Are you able to talk about some of the options that we have there?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we do have psychology options in Spain. We do have them in Greece as well. I think those are our main two. There are also social work opportunities as well as kind of education ones as well that do touch on psychology too. So,
and also like the NGO support and some of those destinations as well.
Exactly. So I mean, if you're looking at a European destination, but it doesn't specifically say psychology, you can always opt for a social work, NGO, education, just because a lot of those do touch on you know, psychological elements as well.
Yeah, we do have, if you're interested in Europe, we have education administration internships in Ireland and in Prague in the Czech Republic. I guess it's not everyone always realizes or thinks about the fact that Ireland is the only English language speaking destination in the European Union. So there are a lot of English language schools in especially Dublin, for example, where maybe people from other European countries, more mature students, are coming to complete English language education in Ireland. So that's a nice program there. But of course, in Prague, there's education programs too, but sometimes there could be a little bit more of a language barrier.
Okay, and we've also just had a question come through in the chat. I think follow up to that is if you have to speak the local language to participate, or what language are these internships conducted in? I think that's a great question.
So in Europe specifically, I know that I mentioned, you know, Spain and Greece for psychology. There is no, you know, requirement for you to speak the local language. They are conducted in English. So if you are worried about, you know, applying for an internship out of a Spanish-speaking destination, you can always just double check the eligibility, and it will have a note there to say whether you do need language, you know, skills. But for Europe, you don't need them. They're conducted in English, and your supervisor will be able to speak English to you while on the placement. Yeah,
I think it's important to add though that when we talk about psychology internships, the intern is never directly responsible for patient care. So you're not going to be given a portfolio of clients that you're independently working with and, you know, just given free reign over that. You're always working with the supervisor, with local professionals, and you are, you know, supporting them, you're assisting, you are, you know, getting tasks to do that are also appropriate given maybe the current level of education that you have. So people at a more introductory level are going to have a more introductory experience, and that's just responsible in those type of environments where there's different clients that could be, you know, coming from different backgrounds or, you know, vulnerable in different ways. So that's just really important to keep in mind with any psychology internship or something related to social work or healthcare. So your supervisor and the professionals that you would be working with in these different countries, the relationship that they have with you, they certainly speak English, and you're not required to speak a secondary language. But it doesn't mean to say that there might not be a language barrier if there's a particular client that you could have, you know, an observation with or a shadowing experience with. It's just important to keep those cultural considerations in mind, and that cultural immersion is a really big part of this experience and a massive benefit to learn from. So that's something to go into the experience with an open mind about. And we do have psychology internships in South Africa in Cape Town. And those are also English language speaking destinations there.
Awesome. Now, with remote internships, how would the intern work around the time difference? So this person's asked, for example, if somebody was in Canada and doing a remote internship in India, how would that work?
Yep, so often it's the case that you would arrange at the beginning of your internship a mutual time between yourself and your supervisor to meet every week. So sometimes it means only checking in with your supervisor twice a week on their local time. So you just need to obviously arrange your own schedule and time zone so that you can both have a chat. But otherwise, it's all about kind of managing your own schedule, deciding what work hours you want to do. So as long as you're available for the occasional check-in with your supervisor as needed on their time zone, then that's kind of how we work around the scheduling there.
Yeah, and what we're talking about with the check-in, that's in real time. So if you were having a phone call or an online meeting, but obviously there's email exchange throughout, people communicate with text messages. Sometimes they have other like project management platforms they might be using. Of course, they're emailing back and forth. So the communication is ongoing throughout, but if you're scheduling an online meeting, you do have to work around time zones to make sure that's handled.
Makes sense. And we've had another person ask if we have any programs in France.
No, not at the moment. We are working on it, but we don't offer them in France, but plenty of other European destinations that we offer them out of at the moment.
Yeah, if you're seeking a French speaking experience because maybe you speak French or you want to learn a bit of French, we would recommend the programs in Morocco. We definitely have ones related to social sciences and other internship fields there in Morocco.
Cool. Now, another question around if somebody is a part-time student, can they still apply for an international internship?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it all depends on how they're managing their study schedule. Some people do take part in internships abroad and they take classes online, during, after they finish their placement for the day, just because the different time zones allow them to do so. But doing a remote internship will allow you a bit more flexibility to work around any academic schedules that you're working with. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, another one. So somebody's asked around the sort of day-to-day tasks, what they can expect on an internship, sort of a day in the life, and how much choice do they have with their placements?
Mm-hmm. So concerning the choice with the placements, I'll just start with that. I think you can always narrow down what you're interested in by just choosing from the categories. So whether that's psychology, social work, education, etc. When it comes to the different types of placements that are available within that field, it's quite broad. There could be many different hospitals, many clinics, many schools that are available. The coordinators that we work with in all of the destinations around the world, they have that portfolio that they manage. And we would never place someone onto an internship without first having their resume, their cover letter, learning a little bit more about their goals. Sometimes they may even be asked or invited to interview with a particular manager or a supervisor. So all of those customized arrangements and logistics, those are always taken care of once someone's confirmed their participation after they've chosen the particular field that they want to focus on.
Okay, great. And then sort of a typical day in the life?
Yeah, that can really differ just depending on which placement you're with. The description on the website, it can seem relatively broad, and that's only because there's no kind of one size fits all placement for everyone. It's always going to depend on which organization you're with, as well as, which projects they're currently working on at the time that you're interning with them. So yeah, tasks can really differ, and we get more of an idea of what exactly you could be getting involved in once you officially register, and we can kind of understand a bit more about what dates you're going and which organization you can get paired with. So we always provide a placement profile to interns once we've found a suitable placement, which we think would be a good fit. So they can review the information in there and the type of tasks they can expect to get involved in, and pass along any feedback if maybe it's not the right fit, or maybe if they're looking for something a bit more specific.
And the schedule itself is Monday through Friday, full-time Monday through Friday, you should expect that you would be committed to that internship place of work, and then you've got the weekends for free time.
Awesome. That's perfect to explore the country that they go to if they choose an abroad internship. So we have another person who has let us know that they're just starting a gap year before they study social sciences at university. They'd love to know how social sciences could get them a job in international aid in the future. Do you see that as a career path? You know, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. Like, I studied, spent some time studying international development, and I wouldn't say my job now is necessarily related to social sciences, but yeah, there's so much you can do within that field. And if you are doing a gap year, then you probably want to build up your resume, show that you've got cultural intelligence, and figure out what you're really passionate about, because you could go in so many different directions. You might be interested in food security, or, you know, education, or NGO work, or, you know, you might even find that you are really focused on environmental sciences and you want to look into sustainability and look at different sustainability objectives around the world that could be facing different types of challenges, whether it's related to climate or education or, you know, deforestation, who knows? So there's really so much that you can do. And I think that's the beauty in trying out these kind of experiences, is exactly that. You can just try new things, and you can build outstanding networks with different people around the world, and just really see what's out there, because you don't, you know, you might not always have a massive range of opportunities in your hometown, which sometimes makes it hard to get a full appreciation for everything, you know, that you could be involved with.
Now, say if somebody is absolutely loving their time on their internship, can they choose to stay longer?
Yep, definitely. So, I mean, you can always register for a shorter duration if you're not entirely sure how long you want to dedicate to an experience like this. For the most part, our local teams in country are flexible, and they can just arrange your extension depending on how many weeks you want in country, but it's always going to depend on availability. So if you know beforehand that you think you're going to want to stay longer, it's probably best to go with a longer duration, but that's not to say that the opportunity to extend is not there if you do want to once you arrive.
Yeah, but you do need to consider your visa logistics too. People participate from all over the world. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you've got a passport, you know, the means to travel, then you're absolutely welcome. But depending on where you're coming from and where you're going to, you do just need to think about those visa logistics. We've spoken about Europe, so if we stick with that example, in most cases, travelers can only be in Europe for up to 90 days within a 6-month period. So you would need to think about going home at the appropriate time if you had a visa that was going to expire, or potentially if you wanted to extend, you might need to think about if you would have to apply for a visa extension or what that's going to look like. So it's important just to kind of keep that in the back of your head too.
Yeah, no, that's great tips there, Dallas. Michaela, I think this one might be one for you. Somebody's asked how and if the credits are transferable to a home university. So do they just sort of have them separate, or can they be transferred, or how does that sort of work?
Yeah, so if you're getting credits through our school of record, where it's coming through University of Montana or Warren Wilson College, again, we want you to talk to your academic advisor first. We don't want you to go through the course and then realize you can't apply it to your degree plan. So making sure that your academic advisor is involved throughout. And then once you get approval from them, you will go through our course, and you can, at the end, get a transcript that to most universities are very easily transferred once you have that pre-approval. And then if you're doing it through your home institution, ideally that situation is kind of internal, and we would work with what your university already does as far as internships as academic credit.
Okay, great. And then about the internship scholarship, somebody's asked if you have any tips about how to ensure or get their application to be as ensure the greatest chance of success. That's what the phrase is. Do you guys have it? This can go to Dallas and Sarah as well. You know, what sort of main tips would be for anyone completing or filling out the application form for the scholarship?
Yep. So, I mean, I guess what made Taylor's answers really stand out is, again, he put real effort into answering the questions. He had clearly spent quite a bit of time on it, not only writing it, but proofreading it as well before submitting his application. So, I mean, we don't just want to see kind of one line. We want to make sure that you've had a real think about the question and you've really put some thought and some effort into it. So for each of the questions, have a real think about how you can relate it back to your own experiences or your passions or what you're interested in, because that really goes a long way for us as well.
Yeah, but we're not asking anyone to write an essay. You don't need to write pages and pages. Usually it's just, you know, a short paragraph. It doesn't need to be a long response. It just needs to be meaningful, and it just needs to, you know, be true to yourself.
Great. Anything else, Michaela?
I'll just add to, like Dallas said, it doesn't need to be a novel, but we do want you to treat it as a formal application. So, you know, checking your grammar and punctuation, those little things do go a long way. We have gotten plenty of applications that don't meet those standards. So just take some care to show us your passion and use that grammar as well.
Yeah, and Michaela mentioned earlier, it's not, you know, 20 million questions, and Dallas mentioned it's not an essay. So, you know, just taking that time would be super helpful. How is the winner chosen or selected?
So once we review all the applications as a team, we should announce the winner in November. So we will reach out to you directly. You should be sharing your email in the application so that we have that contact on hand. And then we'll hopefully be able to share that on social media so we can celebrate that person.
And Shirley, when you asked that question, I wasn't sure if you were meaning, you know, how are they chosen, meaning what are we looking for in the responses? But just, you know, a few bullet points on that would just be having a clear sense of purpose, having a particular learning path, a clear career path in mind, so that the purpose is clear, your direction is clear, your motivations are clear. So just so that we aren't left with any ambiguous responses that we don't really know, you know, what that person's thinking or feeling. It just needs to be quite quite succinct, to the point, and just let us know exactly what your goals are, where you want to be, that type of thing.
Perfect. And we've got one more question here. How long do we have to utilize the scholarship?
So once we announce the winner, that award is applicable for a year from that date. And I do just want to add as well that whether you've already completed an application for an internship or if you're still searching, you can apply to that scholarship at any stage of that. So even if you still haven't found the exact destination or the exact program you want to do, we will still consider your application.
That's correct. And just to add on what Michaela said there, if someone is planning on doing a program and they think, I'm going to do this regardless, I love this, you can still pay to confirm your participation so you can actually start planning. It doesn't disqualify you from being a candidate for the scholarship. If you are chosen as a scholarship winner, if you have paid any fees, it's reimbursed. So it's just important to keep in mind that if you 100% want to do this, don't hold back, just sign up for the program. You'll still be have a relevant entry for the scholarship and be refunded anything that you've invested if you are the recipient.
Yeah, and just expanding on that, if you do go and pay your deposit fee and you are made the scholarship winner, then that money can then go towards paying off your program fee. So you can still go ahead and secure your spot. And then once it's announced, you can use that remaining fee that's given to you to pay off your program fee.
Perfect. We will actually just one final question and then we'll sort of wrap up. We have someone who has asked, will this be recognized and accredited across multiple countries?
Well, the accreditation, is that referring to the academic credit?
I would assume so. They haven't expanded on that.
Yeah, I think that's what Michaela mentioned before about the checking with the advisors.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then it gets, and then in terms of the internship being recognized as experience, there is, and I'm correct in saying that they receive a reference letter?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're working with a supervisor, you want to make sure you get a letter of reference from that supervisor. Obviously, you want to be on your best behavior and making a really good effort, so you get a fantastic letter of reference from the supervisor, because you want that for future college applications or job applications. Intern Abroad HQ also does provide supporting documentation from the experience. So you would get a reference from us or a certificate from us, but you also want to get that reference for your resume from the supervisor or the company that you're doing the program with.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll just go on to the application process. So if you've already applied, great, but if you haven't and you want to know what the next steps are, Dallas and Sarah, why don't I let you guys take them through it?
Yep, so you can go ahead and apply. It doesn't cost anything, and it takes about, I'd say less than 5 minutes to fill out an application form. You can pick whether you want to do an abroad or remote, where you want to do it, what you want to do, and then the available start dates will be populated for you just depending on which destination and field you've chosen.
Perfect. Easy.
It is easy.
Yeah. It's literally as simple as that.
Yeah, we just consider the applications to be like a formal expression of interest, so we can respond and give you more information about the next steps. The application process is separate from the scholarship entry form, so it's probably wise to do both. You want to apply for the scholarship through the appropriate scholarship form and submit an application for the program that you're interested in, so that you at least get that underway.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do have any questions about which links for what, please email the team at info@internhq.com, and we'll be able to send them directly to you, so you know exactly where to go. And there's also some links within the chat if you want to click on them to explore some more options. Yeah, that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much, Dallas and Sarah and Michaela. I think you guys have been very insightful, and especially in answering all these questions. And yeah, if anyone's interested in other webinar topics, and how you found this webinar, if you have anything else that you're wanting questions around, please email the team at info@internhq.com. But our website is also very helpful and very easy to navigate, if I do say so myself. So please explore that and then get in touch. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing everyone's applications come through. Thank you, Dallas and Sarah and Kayla.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.